I have never been so ready to talk about an episode of RuPaul's Drag Race in forever, okay? Because there's going to be a lot to discuss with this episode. And I'm going to try to keep it cute because, I'm still trying to be monitoring things on my channel, but let's talk about some things. What's going on YouTube?
Jamar.
What's going on YouTube?
Washington.
This is boy Jamar here once again. So hey, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy Jamar here once again, here to do our weekly recaps of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars Season 2. Woo! Okay. So this has been the moment we've been waiting for, to see what how this whole revenge thing was going to work out. And boy, oh boy. This was very interesting. Okay. All right. So, as we recall from last week, after Alyssa's elimination, the girls came back into the room and Fifi O'Hara had a lot to say in reference to Alyssa Edwards, saying how she was throwing Roxy and Katya under the bus, and how she was throwing her under the bus, and how she can wear whatever she wants to wear because it's Alyssa, and I don't feel like that's fair, and this, that, and the fourth. Just going on and on and on and on and on. But then that mirror showed up, and you saw Alyssa sitting there, and everybody else was freaking out, like, oh my God, what's happening? And Fifi was the only one that wasn't really laughing because she was just like, oh shit. So the girls come in and they do their own little two-way looks or two-way entrances. Coco had one. Coco's really wasn't like it wasn't really like a two-way look. It was more so like one look that had a jacket and she took the jacket off. It wasn't really necessarily look. It was cute. I liked the way it looked, but it just wasn't really like a reveal. I think that's what I wanted. Then Tatiana came in, had like what looked like a little black cocktail dress and pinned it out and it came to like a full gown. It was cute. It was all right. Ginger Minge. First of all, it was her face. She walked in there straight-faced and then she plucked her little thing down and it was spinning. Something about that skirt did like the end of it, was it like in a hula hoop shape? Because something about it didn't seem right. I don't know. Something about it didn't seem quite there, but... And then, of course, Alyssa did her same, camera reveal thing. So Alyssa comes into the room. Oh, wait, you know what? No, I want to go back to... Roxy said a joke, and it brought me back. Because she said, you remember back in the day... when you used to be talking to your friends on house phones, because you can't really... Can you do this on cell phones now? I think, yes, you can. You can do it on cell phones, but it's not as common as I think it used to be. When, you was in high school, and let's say you knew two people didn't like each other, but you were friends with both, and you wanted to be messy, and you would call one girl and be like, okay, girl, I'm going to three-way such and such, and I'm going to ask her this and see what she says about you. So you call... You three-way the next bitch, and she, she says, oh, I can't stand her because of X, Y, and Z, elemental P. And, the other girl chimes in. She's like, oh, what do you think about that? And then they go back and forth. Then she gets caught up in the lie. That was the face crack that Fifi had on her face. Because when she realized that everything that she thought was private between just them in the room, Alyssa heard everything. And the thing is, when they came in, Alyssa was like, okay, so it looks like Fifi had a lot to say about me, so go ahead, girl. Let me hear. Let's let it out. All of a sudden, Fifi wants to cower and be like, oh, you're being if you want to be childish in front of the cameras and this, that, and the fourth. And Alyssa was like, well, I'm here, just say it to my face. And she was like, I don't feel like I have to, and you need to stop playing the victim. I'm like, wait a minute, Fifi, wait a minute. What are you talking about? All of a sudden, why is it that all of a sudden you feel like you don't have to? When you just said you had all that to say when Alyssa wasn't there. Now, what all of Alyssa told you to do was basically repeat what you said, and let's have a discussion about what you said. And now all of a sudden, oh, you're being childish in front of the cameras, this, that, and the fourth. Are you sure that she's the one that's being childish? Are you sure? Because from the looks of it, you're the one that's being childish in the situation right now. Alyssa was just like, well, girl, if you have something to say it to my face. You understand? So, and then she said something about her playing a victim and some other nonsense. I'm like, a victim of what? And then Alyssa said that in the thing. She was like, I'm not being a victim, okay? I'm just saying, well, I heard some things that were said about me that I don't feel are true. And since we have an opportunity to discuss that and what was said, let's do that. But Fifi said, oh, I shouldn't have to do that. And then another thing, Ginger, why are you talking? You were not even invited to this party, okay? Then she chimes in and says, oh, well, it's funny how you're playing the victim when you didn't have any problem sending me home last week. Listen, first of all, nobody asked you. Second of all, she's not playing a victim, as established. Third of all, between Fifi and Ginger, I think are the only two that have really like had the most issue with this whole elimination thing and how people are doing it. Here's the thing. Fifi tried to go on and on saying, oh, I want to play fair. I was playing fair. You can't say anything about that. And Ginger said, well, your reasoning was BS. Let me tell you, there is no playing fair in this, okay? The rules are whoever wins the lip sync has the power to send the bottom queen home. That's it. They didn't say send the bottom queen home based off critique. They didn't say send the bottom queen home based off runway. They just said send the bottom queen home. Whichever reason that you have in your mind when you win that lip sync is up to you. Okay, so you can't be mad if they just decide to choose you. That just means you just got the unlucky card, okay? You just pulled the wrong hand. Okay, so trying to justify and say, oh, Alyssa wasn't playing fair. No, she did well in the challenge. She nailed the lip sync, so she played the game the way that RuPaul told her to play the game. So how is she not playing fair? And and Alyssa clocked that last week. She was like, well, I don't see why Fifi is so upset, because she's probably thinking, oh, this is probably going to affect me in this competition. And guess what? It did. And that's why, and then Ginger, again, girl. You said, when you were talking about you get eliminated last week, you said, okay, well, everybody was preparing for Katya to go home. Even Katya said I was prepared to go home. And then Ginger said, I wouldn't have let you go home. And then we're all looking like, what? So you would have, let's say that Alyssa chose Katya to go home. You mean to tell me that you would have nominated yourself out the competition so that Katya would stay? That's a lie. That's a bald-faced lie. Because if that was the case, then when Alyssa eliminated you, you wouldn't have had all that stuff to say about her. Oh, she tried to eliminate the competition, this, that, and the fourth. You wouldn't have had all that to say about her when you were collecting your loser trophy. So that's a lie. You can't tell me no different. If Katya was getting sent home, you would have said, girl, I love you, but bye. So I don't even want to hear that. Talking about, I wouldn't have let you go. Man, Ginger, you so full of it. Bless her heart. And I did just see Ginger last week, and she was outside of Drag Race. I can fuck with Ginger. While she's on my screen, nope. I can't. I really can't. So there was that whole ordeal. That was the beginning part of this episode, because woo. So really the actual the meat of this episode, or like the better parts of it, have nothing to do really with the challenge this week. It was all about the drama between Fifi and Alyssa. So that's mainly what we're going to be here to talk about. Now we're going to mention the competition. Of course, they have their teams. It was Coco and Fifi. Oh, you know what? let me touch on that really, really quickly. Who got to choose first? I believe it was Alyssa that got to choose first, and Alyssa chose smart and picking Alaska immediately because she knows that Alaska has been nailing this competition. And one more thing, because I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. Y'all know how I go. I was thinking this after watching last week's episode again, or just listening to other people recap it. It is basically set up to where Alaska's going to win. It's kind of feeling like how season 8 did for Bob to win. And I mean, I can't necessarily have a problem with that. She's nailed everything. She's amazing at what she does, and so it is what it is. But I felt like in the bottom of my mind, I felt like Adore is probably the only other queen in this cast that I felt like could have given Alaska the most run for her money. I feel like Adore is like the only other person I could see that would probably combat Alaska as far as winning and in the challenges is concerned. And aside from Adore, it would be Katya, but even Katya has been having a lot of struggles in some of the challenges and landing in the bottom a few times. So I feel like Adore is probably the only other contestant that probably could have, stood up to Alaska in her winning streak. Based off her talent and all the acting challenges that Adore did, she was great in. So, I just felt like it would have been so much more interesting had Adore stayed. But, that's neither here nor there. We've already, found out, there are various issues as to why Adore felt she needed to leave. So, I honestly wouldn't be able to blame her because her head probably wouldn't be in the game anyway. So, that's neither here nor there, but I just had that thought. So, the teams were, of course, Alyssa clutched to Alaska. Ginger clutched to Katya, who she says is her best friend. And again, Ginger keeps riding this Katya is my best friend thing home every chance she gets. But Katya hasn't said it once. Okay, not that she's not her best friend, but it just seems odd. They keep cutting and putting all these things on Ginger's, my best friend, my best friend, my best friend. And Katya's just like, we blossomed a friendship. She's not giving it the same emphasis as Ginger does. And I think that's quite interesting. Who was the other team? Tatiana chose Detox, which is the next best thing probably after Alaska. As far as like being funny. And Coco had the option to choose between Fifi or Roxy. And I was thinking, okay, is she going to be with Roxy because that used to be her good girlfriend? Or is she going to shade her for sending her home? And she chose Fifi. Now, Fifi isn't really the greatest in these type of challenges either. But I guess she said, well, Fifi wasn't the one that tried to send me home. So, Coco chose Fifi. And Roxy, since she didn't have a partner, she had to MC the event. So I'm like, oh boy. Roxy just is a look queen. Like, she can look, she can lip sync, but that's it. That's really it. She can't really act or be funny. So that's where she always seems to struggle. Whew. Well, we're going to talk about how that went. So, during their rehearsal, and, they're coming up with the jokes, Fifi and Coco had their rehearsal with, I don't even remember who they were. It was Ross Matthews and some lady who was a comedian, I believe. So, after their rehearsal, I guess Coco said that, I felt like, the whole thing with Alyssa is still going on in Fifi's head. And so they pulled her aside. And they said, I just felt like this. And Alyssa was like, well, I felt like this. Basically just rehashing that whole thing. And Alyssa was like, look, I don't really want to fight with you. I really just respect what you do. And we can just agree to disagree, squash it. And they tried to hug it out. And Coco was like, girl, that hug was like Obama trying to hug Donald Trump. Fake. Terribly fake. It was kind of like just to try to bury the hatchet, but they really didn't. Or at least Fifi didn't, I don't think. Because I felt the whole time through this whole issue or beef, it just made it seem like Alyssa was trying to be the more mature person and say, look, if we have a problem, let's discuss it. Let's not talk behind each other's back. Let's say it face to face. And, Alyssa's like, look, I just respect what you do. Let's just agree to disagree. Let's hug it out. But, and we're gonna have another, the last interaction between the two of them before this episode ends. So yeah, they had their little talk, and you could tell that was nonsense. It meant nothing, at least not on Fifi's end. So the show starts, and Roxy comes out and starts emceeing the show. It was bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. She tried to make a joke at Michelle Visage and a glory hole, and what did she say? How did she try to set that up? She said, I probably sucked more than Michelle Visage and she stuttered the whole thing and finally got glory hole out, and it just fell flat. It almost could have coasted. But the fact that she flubbed it and stuttered, it just, it killed it. It killed it dead. It killed it dead, and Michelle Visage was like, and usually Michelle can take those jokes, but I guess if they're just not worded and presented in such of a way that it's actually like comedic, it's like, Fifi and Coco come up first. I saw where they were going with that. I saw what they tried to do. They didn't really try to do particularly stand up. They were trying to, do a skit type deal. And it was okay. It started off a little, it started off strong, but it just kind of went left or started to slowly decline. Now, the key part of that was when she was asking her to do the makeup. She said, well, first step, you got to take some cheese chips and crumble them all up and then just beat your face with it. That was like the high point of the show, or their act anyway. But then when Fifi started singing and then Coco gave her the key because you can't seem to find one, it was kind of like jokes you could see coming from a mile away. It was kind of like, oh, well, I was prepared for that one. So it kind of made it a little meh. You know what I'm saying? So there was that. Then Roxy came back out as her Toss a Salad character from season 5 when they did that little kids commercial challenge. Now, that was actually a good idea. That was a creative idea to kind of bring forth another character, give it like a little more of a extra dynamic to your emceeing hosting abilities. However, Toss a Salad didn't have too much more of the charisma that Roxy had. She did kind of have like that, I went on this vacation to the Thousand Islands and stayed on a ranch, because she's salad and Thousand Island and ranch are dressings. So I was like, okay, that was cute. It wasn't like, a gut buster, but that was cute. So out comes Alyssa and Alaska. This was probably the funniest. This was definitely the funniest one because they had it structured in such a way to where they were almost like alley-ooping off each other. It was like Alyssa would toss up the joke and, get everybody laughing, and then like Alaska would bring it home with her little zingers at the end. And even vice versa. Like when Alaska said, Alyssa, we have many prestigious queens here tonight. And Alyssa was like, where? It was simplistic comedy that still landed and seemed, genuinely funny. As to where, and they keep doing that joke of what's one word to describe Michelle Visage, and Alyssa had that beast joke that she always uses, and Michelle was not amused. Everybody else was though. And then it was just really, really good. I enjoyed theirs the most, that's for sure. Who was next? Ginger and Katya. It wasn't bad. It was better than Fifi and Coco's, but something about it seemed ill prepared. There wasn't like a lot of funny moments, or at least the moments that were supposed to be funny were expected. I think it was okay. You know, Katya called Ginger fat. Uh, Ginger said, "Oh, she gets the clap. Basically, she's sexual." Like, you know, it was just very stuff that we could have came up with, you know, very easily. It wasn't as creative, I guess, as it could have been. Which is usually Ginger's usually really naturally funny, but I guess this time I don't know, it just didn't land like it was supposed to. But I still think it was better than what Fifi and Coco did. Then we get Detox and Tatiana. Detox is just always going to be just naturally funny. And Detox is going to actually be here this weekend. I may not be able to go see her because I have some friends coming into town, but she's just so naturally funny. And even Tatiana got her little jokes in. You know, she said when she was going to the doctor, you know, the doctor kept saying that my ovaries were getting in the way. You know, it was that kind of funny. Like, we wasn't expecting. Like, I literally thought she messed up until I got the joke and was like, oh. And they had little matching cute outfits too. Like, it was nice. And then I don't know what that accent was that Detox was putting on, but it was funny. It was really, really funny. Okay, so they go into their deliberation, y'all. And here we go again. To where Fifi is saying, like, oh, I feel like shouldn't have to beg nobody to stay here. You should see the fire in my eyes. Well, the fire in the eyes came with Ginger too, and you see how that worked with her. So, I'm just saying. Secondly, and you know, Tatiana said the words right out of my mouth. It's like, explaining as to why you feel like you should be in this competition isn't begging. Okay, it's just like how you're when you're in an interview, you explain why you feel like you are a good fit for the open role. You're not begging, you know. So whenever it came to deliberation, Fifi just never seemed to come off the right way. And when she went to Tatiana, Tatiana spilled the tea and was like, you know, oh, Detox was funny, but you really couldn't understand a lot of what Detox was saying. So, you know, she wasn't really all that funny. And then Tatiana in the confession says, well, you said that to me, but then I guess they didn't show it, but you said to Detox that you were really funny, but Tatiana wasn't. So you're trying to play a game here, but you're not really playing it the right way or effectively, basically. And it was then when I knew that, Fifi, you're gone. Fifi, you're gone. So they get to the lip sync, and anybody who knows me or has looked in my background and seen that picture right there and that picture right there know that I love Rihanna. Rihanna's definitely one of my favorites. So when Shut Up and Drive started playing, I let out the largest shriek that my dog got up and ran away scared because he thought something was wrong. But they're playing Shut Up and Drive. Oh, wait. So at first I was confused as to how this whole lip sync was about to work, because I was thinking it was kind of like how they did in, what was that, season 7, when they brought all the returning queens back, and, well, I guess they were conjoined and they had to lip sync. I was thinking that it was going to be Detox and Alaska that had to lip sync. And then whoever won between those two, the girl that they were paired with, was going to stay in the competition. But in actuality, it was, okay, Alyssa and Tatiana are going to be the ones that do the lip syncing. I'm like, okay. But then I'm thinking, okay, wait. Okay, if they're the two all-stars, are they already both coming back to the competition automatically? Or is it still only going to be one? Oh, excuse me. And then, you know, I was kind of confused for a quick second until RuPaul said, you know, not only are you lip syncing for your legacy, but you're lip syncing for your life. He was like, oh, I miss saying that. And I kind of miss him saying that too, because a lot of people have said, you know, these lip syncs for your legacies haven't been as as what's the word? Just the energy level and just the what is the word I'm looking for, y'all? I don't know. The only thing I can come up with right now is energy level, but it's just the oomph of it. It just wasn't as exciting as usually like a lip sync for your life usually is, and I think it's because there's nothing really on the line for them because they know they're safe, and most of them don't really want to make that decision anyway, so they probably don't see it as much to lose. Whereas if you're doing a lip sync for your life, you're gonna kick, flip, spin, do whatever you need to do to stay in the competition. And that's why I feel like this was probably this was the best lip sync of the season so far. Because both girls were trying to turn it out. Of course, Miss Alyssa was giving all she got. And it was just better. It was just so much more interesting and entertaining to watch. But now this is where the face crack came. Because, a lot of times when I watch this show, I pause and I have my own little commentary to myself. And when the lip sync was over, I just knew Alyssa won. I was like, Tatiana, girl, I wish you could come back. Because I wanted, like, out of the 4 to come back, I wanted, either Alyssa or Tatiana to come back. I don't really too much care for Ginger. And Coco's kind of meh. But Coco hasn't really been able to do much to really spark my interest for real. I would still choose Coco over Ginger to come back to the competition. But, Alyssa and Tatiana were my picks. So I was like, well, Tatiana, it was great seeing you again, but I don't know if you're going to be able to stay. And when they said, Tatiana, you're a winner, I did the exact same face that Tatiana did. Because she was looking up like, are you serious? Even she knew that if it was a regular lip sync, she would have lost. So I was thinking, wait a minute. RuPaul, really? Alyssa won that lip sync. And you see Alyssa looking over there, crying through her lashes. And for a split second, I'm like, wait, he has to keep them both. This can't be. That doesn't make a lick of sense. And then he said, Alyssa Edwards, you are also a winner. I was like, yes. I get both. I get a 2 for 1 because the 2 people that I wanted to come back, either or, both get to stay. So I was happy. But then, in the midst of all that joy, I had to stop and be like, well, wait. If they both win, how does this bottom 2 elimination thing work? And so he said both get to pick for the bottom 2. I was like, ooh. And then Roxy said in the confessional, like, so wait. If one of the girls picks my lipstick and the other girl picks the Fifi's lipstick, that means that we both could be going home. And it's like, ooh. And so I was like, oh gosh, well, how is this gonna go? And they asked Alyssa, who did you choose? She says, I respect you both, but I'm sending Fifi O'Hara home. Tatiana, Fifi O'Hara. And it was unanimous. I'm like, Fifi, even with you had a 50-50 chance, even when there was a chance where the other person could have been eliminated with you, they still chose you and only you. Okay? And to top it all off, because typically when a queen is eliminated, the other person, well, not every time, but at least so far in this time, they've kind of, come to embrace the person, I still love and respect you, this is just a competition or whatever. Fifi, hugged Roxy, and Alyssa tried to make a move to extend her arms to Fifi. And Fifi was like, no, it's okay. No, I don't, nope. And Alyssa was just like, Let me tell you, Fifi, any kind of redemption that you were seeking, any kind of retribution, or any of that you were trying to get from this All-Star seasons, you lost in that moment right there. Because that is the pettiest thing ever. When Alyssa got eliminated, they hugged Alaska. There was still mutual respect. Even when Coco eliminated Roxy, mind you, there was, Coco still felt a way about it, but they still were able to come and just hug it out. Not you. Oh no, not you. You just had to, be the petty one and be like, no, I can't hug you. Nope, can't do it. And Alyssa was like, again, Alyssa being the more mature person in this situation. And then Tatiana went around, like, as, Fifi was hugging and kissing some of the other contestants or the other girls. She said, I wanted to say goodbye to you. He's like, oh, yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. And then Alyssa was like, I tried to hug you. I tried to hug you. And then she was like, so that's it. Fifi O'Hara signing out, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you petty little, my God. Fifi, girl. We hope that you were going to redeem yourself, or at least do what Roxy's doing. We haven't hated Roxy for being, the same reason that we may not have liked what she's done in the challenges as far as doing well or being funny. But as far as her owning her bitchiness, she hasn't given us none of that this All-Star season, and that's why we liked her. Now, mind you, Roxy has been kind of, going along by the skin of her teeth. She's been in the bottom so many times, and just by the flick of her hairs, she's being safe. So I don't know how much longer she's gonna last. But at least we don't hate her like we did before. We can kind of forgive her season 5 showing, because she admitted it right out the gate of All Stars. It hasn't really shown that nasty side of herself the whole time, whereas Fifi has been nasty the whole time since she walked into the room, the whole time. So, and then I know this video is going to be long, but there was a lot to say. Recently, Fifi put out the tweets about how she's not going to come to the reunion because she doesn't feel like the host, the show, the producers have her best interest. And apparently her and Rupaul stopped following each other. I'm just like, Fifi, I know you want to, as much as you try to call Alyssa a victim, you're the one being a victim here, because you can say that there was the editing, you can say that it was this and that, but these are the things that you did. These are the things that you said. The editing didn't make you blow Alyssa off and not even give enough of a respect to hug somebody. The editing didn't stop you from saying all those nasty, narky little comments to the other girls trying to, well, we don't know if you were trying to set them up, but they just came off shady. So, no, don't try to play like, oh, the show is bad and they didn't respect me, I got the bad edit. You did those things. Like, the editors can't make you do anything, okay? They don't have a gun to your head making you do and say whatever they want you to say. No, they can bait you, but at the end of the day, it's still your decision to do these things, and you chose to do those things that got you eliminated and probably got you an even worse backlash or public view than you had before. So, I mean, we still love your cosplay. Like, that Future of Drag look that she had was still sickening, but I mean, you set up all these tweets about how you're not going to show up to the reunion. I mean, it would suck that you're not able to let go of something that happened. This happened a year ago. This was filmed last September, late August, September. So why would you not be able to come and talk about something that happened a year ago? Like, are you that pressed? Are you that mad? Are you that upset, Fifi? Whatever. Bye, girl. Okay, if you don't want to show up to the reunion, oh well. We'll make it without you. What I would like for Adore to show up. Can Adore show up instead of Fifi? I'd like that. I would like that. But I think that was all I wanted to say. I think I got everything out. If not, oh well. I was watching Alyssa's after party show thing on YouTube, and I think they're filming the reunion in a couple of weeks, or like in a week or so. So it's probably not going to air because they still have, they have 6 queens now. They have Katya, Roxy, Alaska, Alyssa, Tatiana, and Detox. Yeah, they have six new, 1 extra queen than they had before. So we still have about at least 3 episodes left. So we're going to see how this goes. But so far, this All-Star season has definitely been miles better than the first one, and it's just been a fresh air, just as you know, in the drag community, because this has been a season where we have no idea what's going to happen. It has been twists and turns. Like, a lot of things have just been so unexpected, and that's what makes it so much more enjoyable to watch. So thanks you guys so much for watching. I know this was long-winded, but there was a lot to say. Make sure you guys check out my friends over at Drag Race Recap Show, and also make sure you guys check out my friends over at AfterBuzz TV. I know Jackie B has been watching a few of my videos, and it's, you know, so exciting to let people that I watch, they watch me. It's really, really cool. If you're watching, Jackie, hey boo, how you doing? But yeah, this was one of my favorite episodes because it was so, you know, emotionally stirring. But we'll reconvene again next week to see how this thing goes. There's no more revenge, so that's done. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm really excited to hear what you guys thought about this. And I will catch you guys in the next week's episode. Bye-bye.
Like, share, subscribe.